Hello class, we're about to start chapter 6, equations, inequalities, and functions. Now as you see, this page is a little blurry, so I will give you the page number, which is page 352, and you can follow along. It says lesson 1 equations. It says writing and solving one-step equations. An equation is a mathematical statement that two expressions are equal. Examples: 3 plus 5 is equal to 4 times 2, and 10 minus 1 is equal to 3 squared, and 5 times the parenthesis 3 plus 4 equals 35. An equation can contain one or more variables. Solving the equation means finding a value for the variable that will make the equation true. So they have here some basic examples like 4 plus x equals 11. That means that x must be 7. Because we know 4 plus 7 is 11. Then we add 3x equals 24, so that means x is equal to 8, because we know 3 times 8 is 24, and so on. It says the basic strategy in solving an equation is to isolate the variable on one side of the equation. You can do this by performing inverse or opposite operations. However, you must always follow one basic rule. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you must also do to the other side. So now we have solved x minus 23 equals 45. Now on the side here, it shows you what this equation is. Now what I'm going to do, since it's faded out, I'm going to go to some actual problems and I could go through this step by step. So I'm going to pick a problem that's similar to this problem, and problem 17 is similar to the example problem you just saw. So I'm going to do problem 17 first. So that is r minus 35 equals 75. Now what we have to do is this here. We have to determine what variable we want to get by itself. We want to get r by itself. So on the side of r, we have a minus 35. We have to get rid of the minus 35 by adding 35 to both sides. Now, when I say to both sides, that's both sides of the equal sign. We added 35 to the left of the equal sign, and we added 35 to the right of the equal sign. So we bring down our r. A minus 35 plus 35 will give us plus 0. And that's equal to 75 plus 35, we have our 0, carry our 1. This is 110. Now, r plus 0 is just r, so r is equal to 110. So we substitute in 110 for r, that will give us 75 once we subtract 35 from it. Okay, now you may be asking yourself, how come I just didn't cross out the 35s and leave this blank? I want you to know that this actually equals 0. That will become important later. Okay, so let's go back to problem number 1. We have 7x equals 63. Now remember, we're trying to solve for x here. We're trying to get the x variable by itself. Now, we also are saying here that we have 7 multiplied to this x. So we need to get rid of this 7 off of the x. And the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide each side by 7. Now we know 7 divided by 7 is 1. So we have 1 times x is equal to 63 divided by 7 is 9. 1 times x is x, and x equals 9. Now after a while, you're not going to have to write the plus 0 or the 1. But I'm just getting you geared up to know what these values actually mean. Okay, the next problem, we're going to do problem number 2. We have 23 plus m is equal to 51. Now again, we're trying to get m by itself. Now this 23 is connected to the m. This 23 is positive. We don't really have to care about this plus m right now. We're just looking at the fact that this 23 is positive. And so you won't make a mistake and think that this is division. I'm going to rewrite the problem again. So 23, the opposite of a positive 23 is a negative 23. So we'll subtract 23 on both sides of the equal sign. 23 minus 23 is 0 plus m is equal to 51 minus 23. We'll borrow 1 from this 5 and make it 4, and this 1 becomes 11. 11 minus 3 is 8. 4 minus 2 is 2. 0 plus m is m, and m is equal to 28. Okay, now we'll go here to problem number 3. We have negative 13 is equal to y minus 12. Now this time we got the y on the right side, on the right side of the equal sign instead of the left. Now all we have to do is to get y by itself. Now to get y by itself, since it's subtracting 12 on this minus 12 is connected to the y, we will add 12 on both sides. Now negative 13 plus 12 will give us negative 1. And is equal to, this would be y plus 0. So negative 1 equals y. Now we go here to number 4. Number 4, we have a fraction. We have x over 4 equals negative 16. Now we got to ask ourselves, we want to solve for x. We got to ask ourselves, how is this 4 connected to the x? It's connected by division. So since this is connected by division, we would have to multiply each side to get rid of this 4. Since x is divided by 4, we'll multiply everything by 4. So this will become 4 times x over 4, and this will be negative 16 times 4. We multiplied each side by 4. Now we know this is really 4 over 1. So this would be 4 times x is 4x, and 1 times 4 is 4. Negative 6 times 4 is a negative 64. When we multiply those values. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So we have 1 times x equals negative 64. And this will be x equals negative 64. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to bounce around a little bit because some of these are redundant problems. So I'm going to do some of them that are similar, and then we'll move on. So let's look at number 5. We have 5a equals 625. So now we have 5 times a. We're solving for a, and this 5 is connected by multiplication. So we would divide each side by 5. So 5 divided by 5 is 1 times a is a. So we know this will end up being a. Now 625 divided by 5. Now you could take your calculator or you could divide this by hand, but that would be 125. So a is 125. Okay, now we go here to problem number 6. Problem number 6, we will have y minus 17 equals negative 30. Now we're trying to get y by itself, and on the same side as y we have a minus 17. So we will add 17 on both sides. So this would be y plus 0. Negative 30 plus 17 would give us a negative 13. And y plus 0 is y, and y is equals negative 13. Now number 7. So now we have number 7, which is x plus 6 is equal to 33. Now we know we're trying to get x by itself, and this 6 is connected to x by addition. So we'll take its opposite. We'll subtract 6 on both sides of the equal sign. So this would be x plus 0 is equal to 33 minus 6 is 27. X plus 0 is x, and x equals 27. Now, we move on to, I'm going to skip to problem number 9. This time we had 12 over x equals negative 3. Now, the first thing, we know we want to get x by itself. But first thing, we got x in our denominator. It's not so easy to get rid of an x in the denominator. But this is what we'll do. To get rid of this x out of the denominator, since it's divided by x, we're going to multiply each side by x. So we multiply each side by x. This will give us 12x over x is equal to a negative 3x. Now, when we look here, These x's both will simplify out to 1. So this would be 12 times 1 equals negative 3x. So this would be 12 equals negative 3x. Now, we still don't have x by itself. The negative 3 is connected to x by multiplication. So we know in order to get rid of, we have to take the negative 3 and divide it on both sides. 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is positive 1 times x. So it'll be negative 4 is equal to x. So this is our final answer for problem number 9. Okay, the next problem, trying to see something here. Let's do number 11. Number 11, we had 93 is equal to 3x. Now we have x on the right side of the equal sign, which is fine. But we have to get rid of this 3. This 3 is connected to x by multiplication. So we'll divide each side by 3. 93 divided by 3 is 31. 3 divided by 3 is 1 times x. So it'd be 31 is equal to x. Okay, now 12 is basically the same. 13, I'll do 13. We have 36 is equal to x over 3. Now again, we got the x on the right side, and this 3 is connected to the x by division. So we know we'll multiply each side by 3. So 3 times 36 would be 108. And then this would be, put it over 1, this would be 3x over 3. And we know 3 divided by 3 is 1, so we have 108 is equal to 1 times x. So it'll be 108 is equal to x. All right, now that took care of problem 13. Now 14 is basically what we've covered, 15 and 16. Well, we could do 16. 16, we have 16y is equal to a negative 48. Now, we know that the 16 is connected to y by multiplication, so we'll divide each side by 16. Remember, we don't divide by the variable, only by the number. 16 divided by 16 is 1 times y. Negative 48 divided by 16, we know a negative divided by a positive is negative. 48 divided by 16 is 3. 1 times y is y, and it's equal to negative 3. Now, we did 17 already. Now, 18, I'm going to do, but let's see, is 18 going to be the last problem that I do? No, it'd be 27 would be the last problem I would do on this page. So let's go down here to 18. And then we would do problem 27. So 18, we had 24 is equal to 120 over x. Now again, we have x in our denominator. We need to get rid of x out of our denominator first. So we'll multiply each side by x. Now, 24 times x is 24x. So this would be 120x over x, because 120 times x is 120x, x times 1 is x. So you had 24x is equal to, these x's simplify out to 1, it'll be 120 times 1. So you had 24x is equal to 120. We divide each side by 24, and x is equal to 5. Now, I did skip a step here, because usually I would do 24 divided by 24 is 1 times x, but now you already saw that we would have 1 times x in our head, so you can skip that step. So the next problem is 27. We have 14 minus w is equal to 42. Now again, we want to get w by itself. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of this 14. This 14 is positive. So we'll subtract 14 on both sides. 14 minus 14 is 0 minus w is equal to 42 minus 14 is 28. 0 minus W is a negative W equals 28. Now remember, negative W is the same thing as saying negative 1W. Remember, when there is no number shown in front of a variable, it's assumed to be a 1 there. So since this is a negative 1 times W, we know we will have to divide each side by negative 1. So negative 1 divided by negative 1 is positive 1 times W is equal to 28 divided by negative 1 is negative 28. 1 times W is W, and W is equal to a negative 28. All right, now we go down here to B. It says choose the one best answer to each question. Questions 29 and 30 refer to the following table. So this is an April timesheet summary hours worked per week. Okay, now it says 29. Kayla and Aaron worked a total of 77 hours during week 1. Let X equals Aaron's hours for week 1. Okay, now which of the following equations could be used to solve for Aaron's hours during week 1? Okay, so now week 1, we said that they worked a total of 77 hours. So we know it's something going to equal 77. Now, they said let X be Aaron's hours. So we know Aaron's hours plus Kayla hours is supposed to equal 77. So Aaron is X plus Kayla's hours, which is 36. So we have X plus 36 equals 77. So if we look here, the one that follows that is C. Now number 30, it says Aaron worked twice as many hours as Kayla did during week 4. Let Y equals Kayla's hours for week 4. Which of the following equations could be used to solve for Kayla's hours during week 4? Okay, so number 30. They tell us Aaron worked twice as many hours as Kayla did during week 4. So if we go to week 4, Aaron worked 38 hours. So they're telling us that let Y equals Kayla hours for week 4. Okay, so basically, they tell us that Aaron earned twice. So basically, they're saying that 2 times Kayla's hours is equal to how many hours Aaron had. Because remember, Kayla's hours, Aaron worked twice as many hours. So we had to double Kayla's hours. That's why we did 2 times Y, because Y represents Kayla's hours. So we had 2Y, which is C also. 2Y equals 38. Now, number 31, it says a number divided by 4 is 32. What is the number? So basically, a number is X. And you know what, I didn't scroll this down. Sorry about that. But it says a number divided by 4 is 32. A number represents X. Divided by, we know is division, by 4, so we could put X over 4. Is means equal, and 32 is 32. All right, so they want to know what is the number. So we know since we're trying to get X by itself, and we got divided by 4, we'll multiply each side by 4. So we'll put this over 1. So this will give us 4X over 4 is equal to 32 times 4 is 128. 4 divided by 4 is 1 times X is equal to 128. 1 times X is X, and X is equal to 128, which is C. 32, the solution, X equals -5, makes which of the following equations true? So what they're telling us to do is substitute in -5 for each of these equations. So let's go down to the easy ones first. -5 plus 3, we know that'll be -2. So we put in for C, if we put in -5 for X, -5 plus 3 would be -2. So we know C doesn't work. If we put in -5 for X here, -5 divided by 5 is -1. So we know B doesn't work. So we disqualify B and C. Now we look here at A. Now A I'm going to have to write out. So this is 32. Now we look at A. It'll be 14 minus, and they tell us that x is negative 5. Now we know minus a negative will give us a positive. And 14 plus 5 we know is 19. And we know that doesn't equal to 9. So we know A doesn't work. So now the last one we could try is D. Now D, we add 12 times negative 5, because x is negative 5 equals negative 60. 12 times negative 5 is negative 60, and negative 60 equals negative 60. So our answer here is D. And finally, 33, it says Mike had $572.18 in his checking account. After writing the check, he had $434.68. Which of the following equations could be used to find the amount of the check C? So C represents the check. Now, if you notice, we went from 572.18 to 434.68. We know that this is going to involve some form of subtraction, or it could be division. We know most likely it's not going to be multiplication. So that most likely C would be out of the question. So now we look at A, B, and D. So if we look here, I would think that with a check, I would think that we would more so do subtraction. Oh, it wouldn't be addition either. So it'd be A and C would be gone. So me, myself, I would think that it's subtraction. So I would go with 33. I would go with B. Because when you write a check, you're typically subtracting from your account. So that is basically it from the first part of lesson 1. I will upload this to YouTube, and then I will record the second part of lesson 1. Have a wonderful day.